China built the ultimate app for population control, and over 1 billion people use it every single day without thinking twice. 1.4 billion people, to be exact. More than the entire population of Europe and North America combined. You heard that right. An app so deeply woven into daily life that the people inside it don't even notice the walls anymore. This isn't a story about technology. It's a story about control, and how the most sophisticated surveillance system in human history was disguised as a messaging app. And to understand how it got this powerful, you have to go back to where it all started. How WeChat was born. It started with an email sent in the middle of the night. The year is 2010. A product manager named Zhang Xiaolong is scrolling through his phone when he stumbles onto something that stops him cold. A Canadian messaging app called Kik had just gained 1 million users in 15 days. 15 days. Zhang stares at that number. And then he writes an email to his CEO, right then and there, in the middle of the night. The message is simple: we need to build something like this, now. His CEO responds within hours. The answer is yes. That email is the moment WeChat is born. A team of fewer than 10 people working out of a small office in Guangzhou, not even at company headquarters, begins building. No massive budget. No army of engineers, just a handful of people and a deadline. 70 days later, on January 21st, 2011, the first version of WeChat goes live. The reaction? Almost nothing. A lukewarm response, a few thousand downloads, and Zhang knew exactly why. A basic messaging app wasn't enough, so he starts adding voice messages. A feature called Shake, where you physically shake your phone and get instantly connected to a stranger shaking theirs anywhere in the world at that same moment. It sounds like a gimmick. It goes viral overnight. But here is where the story starts to get uncomfortable. Zhang made one design decision early on that almost everyone overlooked. Unlike the apps that came before it, WeChat required your real identity. No anonymous usernames, no fake handles. Your phone number, linked directly to you. It felt like a minor formality. You barely noticed it. But that single, quiet decision was the foundation that everything else would eventually be built on. By March of 2012, WeChat had crossed 100 million users in 433 days. Facebook took 4 years to reach that same number. Twitter took 5. You heard that right. Fewer than 10 people built something in 70 days that outpaced the biggest social platforms in history. And it was just getting started. But the speed of the growth wasn't the most important part. The most important part was what WeChat was quietly becoming and what it would soon be used to do. Because growing fast and absorbing everything in your path are two very different things, and WeChat was about to do both at the same time. The app that ate everything. Think about every app on your phone right now. Your banking app, your maps, your food delivery, your rideshare, your news, your social media, your messaging, your work calendar, your hospital, your government portal. Now imagine all of that, every single one of them, collapsed into a single icon on your home screen. One login, one interface, one company watching everything you do inside all of them. That is WeChat. And it didn't start that way. That's the part most people miss. In 2012, WeChat added Moments, a social feed where you could share photos and updates with your contacts, your own private timeline. Simple, harmless. Then in 2013, WeChat Pay arrived. Suddenly you could link your bank account directly inside the app and pay for things with your phone. Street food vendors, taxis, utility bills, all from the same place you were already messaging your friends. You barely noticed the shift. It just felt convenient. Then in 2017, they launched mini programs. And this is where everything changed. Mini programs are apps inside the app. Thousands of them, tens of thousands, then millions. You could order food, book a doctor's appointment, file your taxes, renew your driver's license, buy train tickets, donate to charity, pay rent, schedule a hospital visit, all without ever leaving WeChat. Over 5 million mini programs now exist inside WeChat's ecosystem. You heard that right, 5 million. That is not an app anymore. That is an entire internet living inside one company's platform. And here is the thing nobody talks about. Every single one of those mini programs feeds data back to WeChat. Researchers at Citizen Lab, a cybersecurity organization at the University of Toronto, analyzed WeChat's data flows and found that when you use any mini program, WeChat is quietly logging your activity, which pages you visit, what you search for, how long you stay, what you click. And there is no way to opt out. Not for you. Not even for the developers who built those mini programs. It happens automatically, in the background, while you're just trying to order lunch. But this was just the beginning of how deep the trap went, because the genius and the horror of what WeChat built wasn't just in what it offered, it was in what it made impossible to avoid. By 2018, WeChat accounted for 34% of all mobile data traffic in China, not 34% of social media traffic. 34% of every single thing happening on every phone in the entire country. One app. 1/3 of a nation's entire digital life flowing through a single pipe. And that pipe had an owner. And that owner had obligations. Very specific, very legally binding obligations to someone other than you. The data WeChat collects on you is extraordinary in its detail. Your search terms, every profile you visit, every link you open, the duration of every call you make, your location, updated in real time, whenever the app is running, your spending habits, down to what you bought, where you bought it, and what time you did it, your social connections, who you talk to most, who you've stopped talking to, who you talk to late at night. Pieced together, researchers at Privacy International concluded this data can reveal your religious beliefs, your political views, and your personality, not by asking you, by watching you. And then WeChat sent a notification to overseas users in September of 2022 that most people scrolled past without reading. It said, quietly, that their likes, comments, browsing history, search history, and content uploads would be transmitted to servers in China. Users were told they could click cancel, but if they did, they would lose access to the app entirely. Most people clicked agree, and that tells you everything you need to know about what WeChat actually built. Not an app people chose, an infrastructure people couldn't afford to leave. But to understand exactly how that infrastructure became a tool for control, you need to understand what WeChat knows about who you actually are. Your identity inside WeChat. You think you have a username. You don't. From the moment you register on WeChat, you are not a handle. You are not a screen name. You are a verified, documented, legally traceable human being, and WeChat knows exactly who that is. Here is what registration actually requires. Your phone number, your full legal name, your national ID card number, a photograph of that ID card, front and back. A facial recognition scan the app takes a live image of your face and matches it against your government documents. And once you link WeChat Pay, your bank account is tied to all of it. Every layer of your identity, locked together inside a single profile that cannot be changed, ever. A WeChat account can only ever be linked to one real name identity, and that link is permanent. Think about what that means. There is no separation between you and your account, no anonymity, no plausible deniability. If something happens on that account, a message sent, a payment made, a post shared, it is traceable to you, not to a username, not to a device. To you, by name, by face, by government record. But here is where it gets darker. Because what WeChat holds on you isn't just who you are, it's everything you do, every search you type. Every call you make, who you called, how long you spoke, where you were standing, your spending history down to the vendor, the amount, the minute, your contact list, who you message at 2 in the morning, who you stopped messaging after they moved abroad. WeChat knows you were awake. It knows what you were looking for. It knows what changed. Citizen Lab researchers, after reverse engineering the WeChat app, found that it collects data using what they described as extremely verbose logging. Every tap, every scroll, every page visited inside a mini program, all of it flowing back to WeChat servers in real time. And this collection happens even when you think you're using a completely separate service. Inside WeChat's ecosystem, there is no separate. Everything runs through the same identity, the same account, the same you. Then came the finding. that nobody expected. Citizen Lab discovered that WeChat was scanning and analyzing messages sent by users completely outside of China, people with foreign phone numbers, people who thought they had nothing to worry about. Their images, their files, their private conversations analyzed, not to censor them directly, to train the censorship machine aimed at users inside China. You heard that right. Your private messages abroad were being fed into a surveillance engine built to control someone else. WeChat doesn't just know who you are. It knows where you are, what you think, who you trust, and what you believe. All of it attached to a verified identity that can never be unlinked. Most people handed all of that over one tap at a time, just trying to message a friend, just trying to pay for lunch. But knowing who you are is only half the equation. The other half is making sure you can never say anything that threatens the people watching you. The surveillance engine. You think your message disappeared when you deleted it. It didn't. Here is how WeChat's surveillance engine actually works and why it is unlike anything that has ever existed in the history of communication technology. Every single message you send on WeChat passes through a server managed by Tencent before it reaches the person you sent it to. It doesn't go from your phone to theirs. It goes from your phone to WeChat servers first, and while it's sitting there, in that fraction of a second, it is scanned. Every word, every image, every file, checked against a vast and constantly updated list of flagged content before being allowed through. And here's the part that makes it different from anything else. When a message is blocked, you don't know. The person you sent it to doesn't know. There is no notification, no error message, no indication that anything went wrong. The message simply never arrives. Both of you sit in silence, and neither of you has any idea why. Researchers at Citizen Lab described WeChat's censorship system as dynamic, meaning it doesn't just use a fixed list of banned words. It updates in real time, reacting to current events. The day a political scandal breaks, the day a protest starts, the day something happens that the government doesn't want discussed. Within hours, sometimes within minutes, new keywords are added, and a wave of silent deletions sweeps across 1 billion conversations simultaneously. None of those people know it happened. They just never got the reply. But the censorship of text is only the beginning. WeChat also scans every image you send. Using a technology called optical character recognition, the app reads the text inside photographs, screenshots of news articles, images of documents, pictures of protest signs. It also checks every image against a massive database of cryptographic fingerprints. When you send an image, WeChat generates a digital signature for that file. If that signature matches anything on the blacklist, the image is deleted before delivery, instantly, silently. And even if you recall that message afterward, even if you unsend it, that signature stays in the database forever. The file has been cataloged. It will be flagged on site for every user from that moment forward. Then came the revelation that changed everything. In 2018, Chinese authorities confirmed publicly for the first time something that many had suspected for years. Deleted WeChat messages, messages you believed were gone, can be retrieved by authorities. All WeChat conversations are stored for 6 months on Tencent servers. And under China's 2017 cybersecurity law, Tencent is legally required to hand that data to the government on demand. No court order needed beyond a government request. No warning to the user. Just a request, and everything you ever said is on a table in front of someone you never knew was watching. A man named Gao Zhigang found this out the hard way. In 2019, he forwarded a video to a friend, a video he sent in a private message. He was later convicted and sentenced to 10 months in prison. The court documents showed that police had used WeChat's data, combined with facial recognition technology, to identify and locate both the sender and the recipient. He thought it was a private message. There is no private message on WeChat. And this is where the picture becomes truly suffocating. Because WeChat didn't just build a system that watches you, it built a system that watches you without you ever suspecting it. 1 billion people sending 45 billion messages a day, each one passing through a filter they can't see, feeding a database they can't access, governed by a law they had no say in. Amnesty International reviewed the world's major messaging apps and ranked them on privacy and encryption. WeChat came last, dead last, out of every app on the list. You heard that right. The most used messaging app in the most populated country on Earth scored 0 out of 100 for encryption and user protection. But knowing this, and knowing what WeChat does to the people who step out of line, you might think the solution is simple. Just don't say the wrong thing. Just stay quiet. But there's a place where WeChat surveillance capabilities were pushed far beyond filtering words and flagging images. A place where they were used as an active weapon against an entire population. And what happened there didn't stay there. The Xinjiang Laboratory. Imagine being stopped at a checkpoint on your way to buy groceries. A police officer holds out his hand. You give him your phone. He plugs it into a device. It scans your contact list. Every name, every number, every conversation. He scrolls through your WeChat messages, who you've been talking to, what you said, what they sent back. He checks whether you have any banned apps, whether you've used a VPN, whether the content in your photo library matches anything on a government watch list. The process takes a few minutes. Then you get your phone back and walk away. Or you don't. This was not a scene from a dystopian film. This was daily life in Xinjiang, China's westernmost region, and WeChat was at the center of all of it. By 2017, authorities in Xinjiang had turned the region into the most intensively surveilled place on Earth. Checkpoints every few hundred feet, facial recognition cameras on every corner. And at each checkpoint, mandatory phone inspections. Officers were trained specifically to look for a short list of red flags on every device they screened, and at the very top of that list, WeChat. They checked whether you had WeChat installed. They checked who was in your contact list. They checked your message history, not just what you'd sent, but who you'd received messages from. Having contact with someone abroad wasn't just suspicious, it was grounds for detention. 10 Kazakh women were arrested for messages sent in a private WeChat group chat. Not public posts, not broadcasts. Private messages in a group they believed only their friends could see. But this was just the beginning of what WeChat made possible. Because police weren't just reading messages at checkpoints. WeChat's own surveillance infrastructure was feeding into a much larger system, one that tracked the movements, communications, and behaviors of millions of people in real time. Leaked police database records, later obtained and published by The Intercept, revealed the granular detail of what that system captured. People flagged for praying, for fasting, for talking to family members living outside China, for having WhatsApp, a banned app, ever installed, even if they'd already deleted it, for using voice messages on WeChat in the Uyghur language instead of Mandarin. That last one was considered suspicious because authorities initially couldn't understand it. Think about what that means. Communicating in your own language was treated as evidence of wrongdoing. And then there was the pressure tool that nobody outside Xinjiang was supposed to know about. Residents weren't just being monitored through WeChat, they were being conscripted into monitoring each other through it. People with family members living abroad were pressured to make contact with those relatives through WeChat and to report back on what those relatives said. The app became a pipeline for coerced informants, a way to extend the surveillance network across borders without any official presence in foreign countries at all. The payoff from Xinjiang was enormous, not for the people who lived there, for the system that was being built. Every technique sharpened in Xinjiang, real-time message scanning, contact network mapping, WeChat-based checkpoint verification, coerced reporting, was refined, optimized, and made ready to scale. The infrastructure stress-tested in a region of 25 million people was now robust enough to be deployed across a country of 1.4 billion. And then the entire world handed WeChat the perfect opportunity to do exactly that. The trap closes, and you already agreed to it. COVID-19 gave WeChat something it had never had before. A legitimate reason to control your physical body. In 2020, a health code system was built directly into WeChat. A QR code, green, yellow, or red, assigned to your verified identity. Green meant you could move freely. Yellow meant restricted. Red meant you stayed where you were. You couldn't enter a supermarket, board a train, visit a hospital, or walk into your workplace without showing that. Code first. Your phone became your permission slip to exist in public space, and WeChat held the only key. For millions of people, this felt reasonable at first. There was a pandemic. The codes made sense. You scanned. You moved. You didn't think too hard about who was deciding what color you got. Then came the moment that showed the world exactly what that key could be used for. 2022, Henan Province. Thousands of ordinary people had their savings frozen by local banks in what became one of China's worst financial scandals in years. People who had done nothing wrong, people who simply wanted their own money back. They tried to organize, they tried to travel to protest in person, and then something happened that had never been seen before and that no official ever adequately explained. Their health codes turned red. Not because they had tested positive, not because they'd been near anyone sick, not because any medical authority flagged them. Their codes turned red because they were trying to show up, because they were inconvenient. WeChat, the app they used to pay for groceries, message their families, and book their hospital appointments, had been used to physically freeze them in place, to prevent them from moving through their own country, to silence a protest before it could become visible. The app was no longer a tool of the state. It was the hand of the state, reaching directly into the pockets of its citizens and deciding who got to move and who didn't. And this is the final wall, the one that makes everything else permanent. No WeChat means no salary deposit, no school registration for your children, no hospital check-in, no government services of any kind. The infrastructure of daily survival, every transaction, every appointment, every bureaucratic process has been rebuilt entirely inside a single app. An app that has your face, your ID, your bank account, your message history, your location, and your health status. An entire generation has grown up inside this system. For them, there is no memory of before. There is no concept of outside. There is only WeChat. You didn't walk into a prison. You downloaded one, agreed to its terms, updated it when it asked, and handed it, piece by piece, everything it needed to make sure you could never leave. This is how you build the ultimate population control system. You don't announce it, you don't force it, you make it indispensable, you make it convenient. You make it so woven into the fabric of daily life that opting out feels like opting out of society itself. 1.4 billion people, one app, one identity, one pipe that everything flows through, every message, every payment, every movement, every word. WeChat didn't put the world's largest population under surveillance. It convinced them to do it themselves. The most powerful prison ever built doesn't have walls. It has a home screen.